Good morning, channel friends. There's Francesca. Maybe some of you have already seen her. You may have seen her in some lives. She is with me today because I am going to give her a private lesson. This tutorial will be part of a much bigger project that even she doesn't know about. You're curious. You might see it tomorrow. And it is a total makeover of an environment. Of her future work and relax zone. We'll see. It is important that she understands the basics of restyling with this headboard, since it's absent from our total restyling. For this reason, today I'll focus more on her. So don't be offended if I don't look at you. We'll start with the basics, and you do it all. I'll guide you, but you do everything. Are you up to it? We've been wanting to do this for years. We're very happy to finally be able to do it. And the complete makeover, be sure to go and see it because it is important. Where these bets will also be included can be found on channel 56 HGTV, Home and Garden TV, or on Discovery Plus. So if you feel like it, I promise you it is worth it. It is not wasted time.
Don't spoil, go and see it. Let's start.
So Francie, first, hot water, baking soda and ammonia to wash everything as it's a bit greasy. And the paint must cling well. I'll put some ammonia here. Perfect. At least a glass. I add baking soda. Let's put some spoons. And here I have 2 ugly brushes, so we get into the moldings well and don't struggle. Perfect. So let's stir well this mixture, which is very degreasing, so remember, when you want to paint something, from now on start with this, which is the best. You can't do more to make the paint grip well. And you need this to go well into the grooves, and this way we get the dust off well, right. That there may be within the mouldings. Now we wash everything, rinse, and then, when it is dry, we start with the first coat of paint. Perfect. Here we go, your beloved chunk. My beautiful chunk. And surprisingly, you prefer not painting the outside because you like it like that. You want to preserve as original as possible. Okay, but not inside. We'll do something strong there. All right. Strong, red, inside. Look, let's do our bar here too. Then we protect the old, original part. So, let's start doing our bar like before. This part, and then we'll run a very fine sandpaper and a glossy protection that will give a very shiny effect. What do you say? Come on, let's do our bar so we get this first step out of the way and then we go inside. Underneath too. It is a little scratched, but that is normal. It has its years. But you'll see that once we apply the protective coat, it will be more protective, not only because it's shiny and bright, but also because it'll be protected for the future, so it won't get ruined. The first step is to remove this rust because we like it a little bit, but we mustn't touch the green part because otherwise we'll deteriorate it even more. So take this little abrasive sponge and do this on this part here, and do it gently, and you'll see that some screws will become even a little bit more golden. It will be more pleasant to the touch, less annoying. And that's it. We also keep a small cloth close by. You can wipe and see what you've done. Above all, there won't be dust. You don't breathe it in. Don't underestimate it. All right. All sounding dust is never good, so the less we breathe in, the better. Do you see the rest coming off here? Let's protect the gold part to prevent the color from dirtying it. I'll show you how it's done, then you do it yourself. You just have to be precise to the edge, so we don't dirty the gilding. You can bear over it, nothing happens. We protect everything below and above. Meanwhile, I'll show you the color I chose. You asked for a red, but I don't want to give you a regular red. I offer you a cherry red, magenta, very beautiful. You know my tastes perfectly. I'll lay it out to see if it's all right. By spreading it well, one coat will be enough. So let's try to be precise, and with a nice coat of paint we'll cover everything. It'll be beautiful, all right. Let's protect all, and we are good. I'll go on with the color, and you'll join me. Make sure you get a good fresh coat, so we cover it well and don't need another one. Insist a little bit more, and if you can, also use the crossed brush stroke like this, press like this, and with just one coat, see? We finish everything and cover it very well. Francie, this is a surprise to you. You don't know anything about the project yet. Nuit Parisienne. A black with vintage greenish and brownish shades. But don't worry, I didn't paint your room all black. However, it's the base for all these beautiful moldings to stand out. We have to be very good at applying a first coat without drips or ugly brush strokes, but make everything nice. That's why I gave you a nice pointed brush. Load it here. Be sure to hold it by the ferrule, it's important. Drain it and work with the tip of the brush, so you don't struggle and go well inside the moldings. You also tap on the moldings. Then we stroke it. Don't worry, don't be frightened by the Baroque shape and the black, because this won't be a theatrical makeover. It will be elegant and sophisticated. But we need a dark base to light it as if it were a painting. We work on the shadows and then provide the light that makes the furniture right. So you have to trust me. Actually, the process we are going to do now, this first coat, is very relaxing. Being used to being in the office all the time and doing very different and perhaps non-manual jobs like this anyway, you will see how much you enjoy it. It is relaxing, satisfying and rewarding.
I was just about to tell you, painting is really relaxing. Enjoy the moment because it's worth it.
You have to be careful. The first coat has to be full. Don't forget anything, not even a centimetre. And the important thing is, when working on the mouldings, to dab, because here you can get some drips and it looks bad. Also, using the next steps, you'll see that if there's a drip, it gets highlighted. A good fast coat is good. Now you will see a new technique, the color wash. I put some vintage rose here. It's a very powdery pink, very old, and it's going to bring yet another color on this bed because I don't want to leave it black. You didn't ask for black, but for romantic. You'll see how beautiful and romantic it will be. It is a wash because I used diluted paint to lighten the shades. And now you with that cloth, when I'll tell you later, you're going to lighten the wet part even more. I'll start and show you how to do a wash. I will actually be very fast because the longer the color stays on the surface, the more I dye it. I don't want to dye it. I want it black. I want the pink to be a glaive, a shade.
Yes, the color shouldn't soak in much.
No, the trick is to be fast. You know I was saying that some steps often have to be done with one coat, as you can see the difference. Actually, not because there is a right or a wrong, but maybe I press more than you. You may be more delicate, and you would take off or put on a little more than me. What happens? In the end, this headboard won't be uniform or homogeneous. It will be of different intensities and is not beautiful. It's not harmonious. Of course, you can see two coats. And when you do it at home alone, relaxed, it's very nice. You can see everything. This is the beauty of the technique that's evolving, of the changing makeover. This headboard has a few woodworm holes that are no longer there. I'm telling you this because you have a beautiful parquet floor, so you have to know that there aren't any more woodworms. But the hole in this case will help make it look even more antique, even more realistic. Now, as you can see, I did it fast and sprayed the semi-diluted paint, which has actually already covered a lot. Did you see that? It looks like I turned it from black to pink and you say, why? Now you'll see what we will do. We'll find out. Let's remove it. I get more or less to a bit more than half, so I can safely remove the excess. I press well, because I have to go deep and take away a lot of the base color. I need pink at the base, but a lighter color on top, and I take a damp cloth. Yours is dry and you will have to use it afterwards. Using the side with short hair to remove less, and now I start to lighten very slowly. The more I remove, of course, the more black you will see, but the pink will be a beautiful shade on top, and it will almost look like a pink powder that has settled on the furniture. Something just time this. You see, working on the surface, how it gets different shades. Somewhere is black and somewhere light pink. And that will bind the whole environment. But I can't tell you more since it's a surprise. Let's say she's a romantic princess with a bit of character. Here you have to slightly remove, otherwise there would be a stain and we wouldn't want it. Rather, if you have removed too much, if you don't have paint, then you can put some again. Nothing happens. If you have a bad spot, always remember that it must not dry out. Just put some paint again, work it better and remove it. You see, it almost looks like a vintage rose powder, almost like an antique powder that settles on the base. This helps us to set a precise time frame, as well as a distinct style, to our makeover. Everything must be even out, or there will be marks left. You have to be careful not to leave marks and moisten everything well. See what I was saying about timing? Here it has dried and stayed like that. If you don't want to see it, we've moistened it and you wipe it with a sponge. This is a trick that sometimes makes people very anxious when they are doing this technique for the first time because it dries quickly. But with the two techniques we'll do afterwards, we will even it out. Look how beautiful this veiled powder effect is. It must be a very soft, delicate thing. You see here you start to see a little bit the end of a delicate veiling. It's beautiful when it's veiled, but you can't see the sponge wipes. Because if you conceive a sponge, it is no longer evident that the cloth should not be seen. A very quick wipe. A very quick step to make the surface velvety smooth. Something really imperceptible. I don't actually remove the color. It's more of a feeling thing, like touch. Don't breathe, I'll blow. And now, I'll show you the last technique we actually do here before the protection. So, how do we light up our piece of furniture? Because it might already look nice, but it needs a bit of light. And I add it with the color. I take a bit of ivory color, I take a brush, and I lightly dip it. Okay, very lightly, and I drain it well. This is called dry brush. You will have a different light, blending with the color you have. See, a different color is emerging. It doesn't take away the antique pink. It doesn't take away the black. It provides a dusty effect, a very delicate touch. Exactly. This way our moldings will stand out across the upper part. If you could do me a favor and check with the dry sponge that there are no more damp spots from the washing, it would be better, because if I come along with the brush and mix it, we'll end up with pink. So, it's fundamental, and in many places, there are still many. See with the dry brush you direct it. This technique is easy, one of the first we teach in courses. However, it's one of the most satisfying, because with just a couple of brush strokes and very little paint, look, I loaded it and didn't use it again. You completely changed the color, the light, the shape, and the makeover look. Here, the first brush stroke you made is also important, because the dry brush, the technique I'm doing, emphasizes the background color a lot and therefore the way you applied it. Well done, you applied it well. The brush stroke is neat. Now, look, by wiping the brush this way you'll notice I'm going to add more light. Look, it's almost imperceptible. Do you see it? It's almost imperceptible, but you are able to lighten the black even slightly, so that it's even more romantic and blends even more with the pink. Do you like this princess vintage effect? I honestly didn't imagine this result. You can't imagine the room. Look, the color changes. Look here. With a wax layer you'll apply now, see how the color deepens. You can see even more of the brush strokes of the various techniques we did, both the vintage rose and our beautiful ivory that provided the light, but look how it becomes distinctive compared to this part here. The trick now is to not leave a single centimeter of surface. So make sure you apply horizontally, then apply vertically, and try to work the surface well by going inside the moldings, because you know the paint won't come off and you'll be able with this protective wax, which smells great. To protect, it'll be washable and scrape resistant. All right, you're going on. I'll check your trunk. If it's nice and dry, we'll continue with it. We'll do the headboard later. Once dry, the color changes. I am curious to see it. Very elegant. Now I'll protect it and seal it up so the original part, reminding you of your past, doesn't change. I think Georgia knows where to put it. We cannot put it up as a bookcase since it has handles on the sides. It can't stand straight, and I don't want to distort it. You want to keep it as natural as possible. And it will become a container for things that Georgia thought about. Yes, because you still don't know how the room will turn out. Now I'll apply this protective layer that stops time. It's a glossy protective coat because you like gloss. So I emphasize it. Some water. I'll apply the protective coating on top, then you cover the trunk, okay. Be careful, this brush is different from those you used. You see it's flat and smooth. It has to be used with a bit of judgment. If you put too much paint on, then it will drip. So be sure to drain it properly. You always do the crossed brush stroke to seal everything. You must think that this is a glass protection over the trunk and it won't move anymore. It will stay beautifully bright for many years. Wait, let me do the top, just like that. See how it looks and tell me if you like it. And once it's dry, the gloss won't change much. It'll be like that, you know. Just to maintain it over time. Essentially, you like the natural color, the original. I haven't changed them at all. See. Now, I'm making this brush stroke, which might appear a bit uneven at first, but in the end, I always smooth out with this particular brush. That's why it's thin, it's 1/2 centimeter thick. Very useful to provide a smooth brush stroke, almost imperceptible. And you must be very careful when applying it to avoid any drips. Let's remove side imperfections. I'll let you do the outside part and wait for it to dry before doing the inside, so that it will be washable inside. I'll move over there and start the second headboard. I'll wait for you to help me. Let's open. We protect the inside. Look how truly beautiful this red becomes once it's protected. It's wonderful. The interior looks new. The great thing is it's washable. If you put items inside needing cleaning, the interior can be sanitized too. You can apply it anywhere. This is stiff fabric, so it will be even better. Do you like the outcome? Our project is almost finished. Today, they saw an easy technique, even from home, to remove rust, preserve, and maintain a vintage, antique patina. They often ask me from home, Eliza, how do I preserve this antique chunk? How do I stop time? We've seen how to do it. We degreased well. The rust was removed with a very fine abrasive sponge, and afterwards, we sealed with a glossy protective coat. Inside, we added color, and this trunk is now protected. It will look so good for so many years. So, she showed something simple, but also something a bit more elaborate, because your bed is actually majestic now. I'll take everything, bring them home with Georgia and set them, and tomorrow we'll show you the finished house. You have to wait until tomorrow. We'll say goodbye, and tomorrow you'll be there too. We'll finish.
This makeover is finished. Wonderful. I couldn't imagine such a result.
You can't say anything more about what's around, because if they actually want to see the transformation of the entire apartment, they need to go to Channel 56 Home and Garden TV and watch the series, or on Discovery. Watch it whenever you want. What do you think? I think we've done well, linked all accessories together. Your trunk looks good, especially with what's on the wall, which is a surprise, and the colors match perfectly.
Exactly. You have recreated an environment that represents me. But I won't spoil.
Tell me in the comments if you enjoyed this and follow us to catch all tutorials. See you. Goodbye.